The college basketball experience MEAC preview for 25-26 edition on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds. Use our promo code TCESGPN. And welcome everybody into the college basketball experience, the MEAC, baby. Oh, it's Mondays in the MEAC. We're back, baby. 5 weeks until opening night. Can't wait to talk about the MEAC. I went to quite a bit of MEAC games last year. I was at the MEAC championship game in Norfolk, Virginia. Instant classic between the Bulldogs and Spartans. We'll give out only 8 teams in this league, so this will be a shorter one. Preview number 6 here over at the College Experience. If you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. Cheers, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, MEAC, baby. Here to talk MEAC hoops. This guy loves some MEAC Mondays. You guys know him from the great state of Michigan. He is a LeBaron driving, cocktail napkin having. Noah Bienick, what's up, bro?
What's going on, Mac and Troy? Happy to be talking college basketball conference previews. One of my favorite times of the year is just getting to know what a lot of these teams have in store for us for the upcoming season. And let's talk some MEAC today.
Let's talk some MEAC. And third man in the booth, he's been to a couple MEAC games in his day. He is the DC Sports Messiah, a.k.a. the Green Mo and Weed Growing Troy Chewning. What's up, brother?
What's going on? Yeah, we got Howard in the backyard. Always fun MEAC fans in DC. Actually, it's kind of the only DC sports where it's not a bunch of transplants. It's actually real DC fans. It's kind of funny. But the MEAC is a conference that Bellarmine would not be found in. We'll just go ahead and say that.
No, the history of this conference, obviously an HBCU league, and they've had NCAA tournament success, and pulled multiple big upsets. They win a bye game or two every year. Last year, like I said, Norfolk beat South Carolina State. Noah, do you have the recap on how we did last year?
Yeah, so the recap 2 years ago was so good that we have to mention it again. Moneyline MEAC, the people were calling him, after a complete sweep, ranking each team correctly 1 through 8, predicting the tournament champion as well. So then we, got a little cocky and we didn't even think that we needed the name Sleeper or Bust last year. And that year, actually, I only flipped the 4th and 5th place teams. I had Morgan State ahead of SC State, and they were flipped. Last year, however, not as successful. It didn't go like we planned quite at all. Howard drops to 7-7 in the league. Mm-hmm. North Carolina Central goes to 6-8, and Mac did predict South Carolina State to win the regular season. They split that title with Norfolk State. He also had his Bulldogs going to the NCAA tournament. And didn't you watch that game in person, like you mentioned? And
yeah,
Norfolk State, they had the gym. That place was a madhouse. And yeah, the Spartans go dancing. My tournament, I predicted Howard to win, and I predicted NC Central to go to the tournament. Complete disaster on my part, but pretty good for you, I would say.
Moneyline MEAC is my new nickname. It's Moneyline MEAC and Moneyline MAAAC. Those are my two leagues. Yeah. I speaking from experience, that MEAC championship environment, I knew the passion of the HBCUs and with it being in Norfolk, I knew it would be jumping. I didn't realize it was going to be jumping to the level it was because they had the band outside, they had the pep rally, and of course at the HBCU games, you get great bands. The bands rock at the timeouts. That was one of the funnest college basketball games I had been to in a minute. So yeah, shout out to the MEAC. Troy, anything you want to add on the MEAC?
Yeah, we just got a SGPN back-to-back first touchdown sweep with now Sean hit Bo Nix.
Nice.
I
will
saw
say,
that.
So we're up big time money here. I would say that you're gonna have to look at the ASUN. We might bang that conference preview. We're gonna get this one perfectly right again, like Noah brought up. Yeah, the MEAC bands. Not the best part. The basketball is pretty damn good, especially at the top level. But some of the lower level teams, the bands are what you're there for, to be honest.
I will say, going into this upcoming season, this is another league that just got absolutely wrecked by the transfer portal. Yes. Not a single team returns more than 31% of their minutes. So again, with this conference preview, if you don't hear the name of a starting player from last year, when I'm rattling through all of the newcomers and projected starting five, just assume that they're no longer on the roster, because that will actually save me time. Hard to believe it. But some of these rosters actually have quite a few experienced players, just not a whole lot of production previously in their college career. So it should be a pretty interesting year. Got a couple of older rosters here.
Let's fire away, man. Let's get right into it. YouTube.com/the college experience. But first, the merch store sale ends at the end of September. So what you got? Just over 24 hours. 25% off. Promo code football. All right, let's fire away here. Team number one. All right, so alphabetically, the best teams in this league traditionally are at the end of it. So we are going to start here with Coppin State. As you can see, Coach Stewart, 8-51 in his first 2 years there. I mean, not very good, clearly. They had 2-27 his first year. They did jump up to 6 wins last year. I don't know. Noah, can they jump up into maybe 9 or 10 this year?
I don't know if I'm personally banking on it. But yeah, they 6 wins and 4 in conference is actually a step up from where Coppin's been in some recent years, which is not great. Last year, they had the 8th best, aka worst offense in the league. But defensively, they finished in the top half. The 4th best defensive efficiency in the league for Coppin State. However, Cameron Sparrow, who played 19 minutes a game, is the only returner on this roster. Everybody else is gone. So you've got Torrin Andrews, a 6'4 senior who played 27.5 minutes a game at D2 Lander, is the projected point guard. He averaged 3.5 assists last season, shot 41% from 3 on 3.5 attempts. To me, this seems like get the ball into this guy's hands and let him operate and manage our offense, and hopefully something good comes of it. You've got Hassan Perkins, who's interconference transfer from Maryland Eastern Shore. He played 19.5 minutes a game last year, averaged 5 points per game, shot at 39.5% from 3. Taj Thwat is a D2 transfer from Fairmont State, your state, I believe. Right, Mac?
He started as a Mountaineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the West Virginia state is where he's from. Got some familiarity with the mid-Atlantic playing area, but he played 22.5 minutes, averaged 12 and 6 at D2 Fairmont State. And then you've got Favor Air from Bryant. He didn't play last year. He started at Penn State. He's a 6'11 senior forward. Demarionte Hall is a D2 transfer from Franklin Price, who played 25.5 minutes a game, 13 points, 6.5 boards. You've got Cleo Horton, who played 23.5 minutes a season ago, averaged 8 points, 2 boards. Tyler Koenig, a D2 transfer from Kutztown, and then Chris Morgan, a Monmouth transfer. And a couple of JUCO guys that were pretty good, I would say. Jamari Piercy, 18.5 points per game, 6 boards, 2 assists at Gordon State College. Hussein Williams, a 6'5" junior wing who averaged 20 points per game, 7.5 boards, 3.5 assists. And then Basile Saunders, a 6'4" junior wing who averaged 12.5, 5.5, and 3 at Montgomery Community College. Now, what I will say is a lot of these D2 and junior college guys were studs at their previous location. Now they've got to come together and form a team. And that's where you see a lot of these teams that are structured around the D2, the D3, the JUCO stars kind of struggle is just kind of assembling some of their roles and playing as a team. And that's where Coppin State's actually kind of struggled just putting the ball in the basket in recent years. So I like that they're taking some gambles and going out and getting some stars from their previous locations and some previously highly rated recruits. I think they take another slight step forward. So that's what I have on Coppin State this year.
My notes on Coppin State is they turn the ball over a lot and they can't score the basketball. So if we were going to do this from last to first, I also would have, like Mac insinuated, started with the Coppin State slide. This is the worst team in the league.
Larry Stewart did play there, so I am pulling for him. But I mean, there's just a lot of question marks on this roster, and 8-51 doesn't really thrill me to want to back this team. Maybe they're chippy as a dog in conference play, but it probably is going to be another long year for these Coppin State Eagles. All right, next up on the dock, we got Sam Waterman over there at Delaware State. His record's a little misleading just because he took over and went 2-26 his first year, kind of like Coppin State. But he slowly has built this thing up. 6 wins in year 2, then they jump over to 15-16. They finished 3rd last year. He's actually done a pretty good job, all things considered, in my opinion. So, Noah, what do you think of these Hornets?
There's a potential for this to be your next Erik Martin in the MEAC. Like you mentioned, a couple of steps up here. Last year, really balanced team. 3rd best offense, 3rd best defensive efficiency on KenPom. And, on the team, they are just kind of rely on some of the guys that played more roles or off the bench to step into some bigger possible starting spots on this team. You do have 3 transfers. Camion Shell, who's a 5'10" guard previously at North Carolina A&T. They had that whole gambling facade last year, but he played 34.5 minutes a game, averaged 7.5 with 3.5 assists, shot at 39.5% from 3. They've also got Adamar Santos, who's a 6'8" junior forward who comes in from Harcum Junior College, averaged 13.5, 3, and 1.5 assists per game. Miles Webb, a 6'8" senior from St. Francis. He transfers out after St. Francis, PA announces that they're going to D3. So you got a kid coming in from a program that was gambling on their games, a kid coming in from a program that's no longer going to pay any players scholarships. It's an interesting group of guys they got here. I do like this team's size. They may be starting 3 guys that are 6'8" or taller, which in the MEAC is kind of rare. So that's one thing that they have going for them. Ponce James, Kareem Watson, Dean Shepard, John Clemens all round out the roster, probably on the bench, but those are some of the returning players that I was like, I don't know what kind of role they're going to play this year, but I do like that they have a little bit of continuity outside of some walk-ons. So that's the Hornets this year. I think they're more of a middle-of-the-pack team.
Yeah, the Hornets are a fun team to watch because of the tempo that they play at. They go pretty fucking fast. But it makes them kind of difficult to predict. And yeah, I've got them pretty much solidly as like a middle of the pack team here too. Nothing really stands out to me as like a definite lean on kind of thing, other than the program goes fast and they're going to go fast. But the height does play a little bit into it. I usually count on Noah for the deep dives on the roster. I didn't realize that 3 guys over 6'8", that is a pretty big deal in this conference. So, they'll be pretty chippy against some of these top teams.
I agree with middle of the pack. I think there is a top tier once again in this league, but I like what Waterman's done, and he's built quietly here at Delaware State. So I think that they finish either fourth or fifth this year. So we'll see where I rank him at the end. Get over there to MyBookie because we are brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Great place to bet on football and everything else. Their prop builder is second to none. Motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. Easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. MyBookie.ag, the promo code for that is TCESGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customer. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by NoVig. NoVig is America's #1 prediction market exchange where you can get some of the best prices out there. 35 plus states it's available. Download that NoVig app and get $50 off when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action. NoVig promo code SGPN. Team number 3 in the MEAC, the Howard Bison, Kenny Blakeney. They went to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. Last year, a little bit of a disappointing year, coming back to the pack a little bit. But headed into year number 7 here. Overall, has done a pretty good job considering going to 2 tournaments. They did have the COVID year where they only played 5 games. So really, I guess this would be his 6th year. But this was a rebuild at the beginning. They've definitely elevated the talent and just the players that they've gotten in this program. So, Noah, do you think they bounced back from that 12-20 disappointment last year?
They finished 4th, tied for 4th at 7-7 in the league. I think they'll be better than a 7-7 conference record. Do I think they're going to finish higher than 4th? I don't have a whole lot of faith in it. This Howard team, Kenny Blakeney's done a great job at rebuilding the program. I think they've had some better rosters in the past. You look at Bryce Harris, and that's a great place to start. They get him back for his graduate senior year. Last year wasn't, I think, up to his standards, and he played 24 minutes a game last year, 9.5 boards, 9.5 points per game, 6 boards, but he didn't shoot it well. I think that this year you're going to hopefully get a good Bryce Harris. That's a really good place to start on the roster. Cam Gillis played 30.5 minutes at Lehigh last year, and he transfers into the MEAC. I think this is a really good get for the Bison. He's a 5'11 guard, looking to play more point guard. And he averaged 9.5 points per game, 4.5 boards, 2.5 assists, shot at 32% on 4.5 3-pointers per game. So that's a really good get for Howard. I also like Cedric Taylor III. He's a 6'7 forward, a junior from D2 Morehouse. He averaged 15.5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, over a steal and over a block per game. I think he's interesting. I don't know if the scoring is necessarily going to transfer to the Division I level. He wasn't a very efficient shooter, but it was pretty voluminous. He was like the go-to guy on Morehouse last year. So I'm wondering how that's going to transfer over into Division I. And Eddie Holland III rounds out the projected front court. He's a redshirt senior that only played 12.5 minutes, not last year, but the season prior at Penn. He just kind of got recruited over with the Quakers and the whole. I think that was one of the Ivy League teams that lost their coach. So it was just a tough situation for Holland. And then the other guy that may play a role in some form or fashion on the team that's a newcomer is Alex Cotton. He's a North Texas transfer, but he was a walk-on. He only played 7 minutes a game, but he has some experience. The 2 returners from last year, Osei Okoji, I probably didn't say that right. He's a 6'5 senior guard who played 14 minutes a game last year. And Calvin Robbins, a 6'5 sophomore who played 10.5 minutes. Big freshman class. We'll see what they've got. They've got a couple of Euros here, too, in that freshman class. So interesting group of guys for Howard. I think they've had some more talented guys in the past. But I think the Bison win more than 7 games like they did last year.
I mean, Bryce Harris's health is pretty determinant of how this team is going to perform. But like I even mentioned, when Noah does the roster previews, it's harder to tell because he actually goes through the whole team. But when I have somebody's name like Cam Gillis written down at the end of September for a MEAC preview, that's pretty high praise. I do think that that's a heck of a get for them from Lehigh, Eddie Holland too. This is going to be the team that has the biggest jump in the conference.
So you're saying contender?
Real contender.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily. I mean, we know we've got our power too in this league, but I might be inclined to put Howard right there behind him.
They did. I mean, they did win this league in 20.
I would say Howard is in the power too. I mean,
Yeah.
they've kind of been there recently. Last year was less of the norm.
Yeah,
So.
I agree. I agree with both your guys' takes. I like this team. I like Blakeney. Gillis obviously is a big get at this level. So yeah, sign me up for the Bison to get back to being a contender in this league.
I'm rooting for Troy to be right because Howard should be at the top of the standings.
Agreed. I'll tell you who will not be at the top of the standings. That will be Maryland Eastern Shore. We'll try and keep it positive here. Cleo Hill Jr. year 1, 6-25. This is a tough job. Just point blank. This is a tough job, and we'll see if he can elevate this program from the basement that they've been in. So 6-25. Noah, what's the breakdown on this?
Yeah, year 1 was not great for Cleo Hill. Only 2 wins in conference, but they did get 4 out of conference, and they were all against non-D1 teams. But hey, Maryland Eastern Shore has lost teams like that in the past. Mm-hmm. So that's a good place to start. I will say this is my prediction of a team that's going to finish in last, though, in the MEAC. I think that Coppin's got a little bit more excitement and pop on that roster than the Hawks here. Again, not a whole lot returning. Christopher Flippin played 26 minutes a game last year, averaged 10 points, 5.5 boards, shot at 55.5% from 3 or from the field. Sorry. He's like 1, he was a good piece on last year's team. 2, he's one of 3 returners and probably the only one that's going to start. That's kind of the identity of the program right now. You also got Maurice Vassell, who played 15 minutes a game, and Trey Hall, who played 15 minutes a game. He was a graduate senior, 6'9" forward. Yeah, I think a lot's on Flippin's shoulders here. You've got Jaden Johnson, who comes in from Howard College, which is a JUCO, averaged 9, 4.5, and 2.5. Michael Teal is a South Carolina State transfer, interconference. Didn't play a whole lot with the Bulldogs last year, just 17 minutes a game. Javoy Thompson is a UNCA transfer, 6.5 minutes a game last year with the Asheville Bulldogs. Mario Hansen Jr. is a sophomore who only got 4.5 minutes of burn at Robert Morris. They played a really tight rotation, but he's a 6'7" sophomore. And honestly, the Colonials, they liked him coming in their freshman class last year. I think it's an interesting piece for the Hawks. You got Joseph Lacandro, a D2 transfer from Concordia Irvine. He only played 17 minutes a game there, but he was able to score when he played. 10.5 points, 4 boards. Justin Mondin is a 6-foot junior guard who played 28.5 minutes for Georgia Southwestern last year. Shot at 37.5% from 3. And then you got a D2 transfer from Miles, Dorian Staples, who played 15 minutes a game. And Trey Brown, who comes in from Salt Lake Junior College. Not expecting a whole lot from that last group there. But, yeah, Hawks, I got them in my cellar right now until they show me that they can do something otherwise.
Yeah, this is another one somewhat like Coppin State on my notepad. It's not a napkin. It's a normal notepad. I can't be stealing Noah's stuff, but all it says is Division II transfers will not save you from how bad this defense is going to be. So on that note, if we were going to go in Moneyline Max order, I feel like this may have been a slide after Coppin State, but we are going alphabetically and we're going to try to keep it positive. So maybe more than 6 wins overall, but seller for me too. I don't have much more to add to Maryland Eastern Shore. We got to see it. Kevin Broadus over here at Morgan State. Kevin Broadus is he's an underrated coach. He won 23 games at Binghamton, got him to the NCAA tournament.
And Morgan State's a hard job, and every year he finds a way to go 500 in the MEAC. So 45-39 in conference games, so he's over 54%. And then you can see his overall record, 119, 118 over his career. But as you can see, they're always right around the middle of the pack, finishing 4th, 5th, or sometimes 6th. They haven't been able to crack into the top 3, but they don't have the resources that those other programs have. So Broadus and company, I think they'll probably be in the middle of the pack. Noah, what's your take on these Bears?
Yeah, I thought Morgan State would actually be a little bit better last year. The bottom kind of fell out on them on the defensive side. They finished 7th in defensive efficiency last year in the MEAC, which is not a great offensive league. So I think them relatively cleaning house. They bring back 4 guys from last year, but for the most part, it might be addition by subtraction. The one big ad is Walter Peggs, who averaged 26 points per game at D2 Spring Hill. He shot at 48% from the floor, 42% from 3. He also averaged 3.5 rebounds a game. He's a 6'4" graduate senior guard. I'm interested to see what he might be able to do with the Bears this season alongside Rob Lawson in that backcourt. He's a 5'11" senior point guard, averaged 2.5 assists last year, 7.5 points, 2.5 boards, shot at 37.5% from 3. But otherwise, the offensive part of the game is kind of lacking with Lawson. Trent Edwards, Marlon Harris, and Mater Wade are all the returners from this team a season ago. Alfred Worrell Jr. is a nice gamble from Southern Miss. He's a 6'4" senior guard, only played 13.5 minutes a season ago, but he averaged 6.5 points per game when he was on the floor. And he's an all-right three-point shooter. Manuk Lual, which is a familiar last name. I can't remember from where. Elijah Davis and Dallas James are some interesting transfers here. Lual is a 6'9" forward. Elijah Davis, graduate senior, previously at Incarnate Word. And then Dallas James was originally at Indiana. Actually, sorry, I screwed that up. He was originally at South Carolina State, was at Indiana last year. He's a 7-footer, graduate senior. I don't know what he might bring to this team. He didn't touch the floor at all with the Hoosiers last year. And they've got a couple of JUCO guys. Christian Meeks, a 6'6" junior wing, who put up 16 points, 8.5 boards, 2.5 assists at Wabon. I can't even say that school's name. I've never heard of it. Wabonse. And then Jane Saka, 6'9" senior forward from Prince George Community College. And then Christian Oliver, a 6'10" senior. Eugene Alvin, a 6'7" junior forward from Florida Southwestern State. So a little bit of a mouthful there for Morgan State. Kind of a grab bag. But I like a couple of the backcourt transfer portal gambles with Walter Peggs and Alfred Worrell Jr.
Yeah, Worrell is I feel like that's going to be a pretty good gamble for them. I think I see this team bumping up. I love that they always find a way to go 500 in the league and they consistently compete. So the idea of taking a possible high gamble on some of these guys on a team that's got pretty consistent culture here, I kind of like it. I've got Morgan State still somewhat in the middle of the pack, but they could be a team that unexpectedly bumps up. I mean, I know we've only got 8 in this league, but they seem like a team that could have a chance to maybe play a little bit better as the season is coming towards the end.
I think, I think Broadus will keep him competitive like he has for the last 5 years. I think they'll finish probably around 500 in league play because I think these teams at the top are just have more resources and they have more dudes, and we're about to talk about them now. I mean, here's the defending champs. Robert Jones, 12 years, 236, 159, runs a good program. They're dominant in the MEAC. 135 and 45. He's won the regular season 6 different times. He's been to 3 NCAA tournaments, 3 out of the last 5 years. Last year was a really good year for them. The last 2 years have been dominant in MEAC play, going 22-6. So expectations are as high as ever. 4 straight 22-plus win seasons for Robert Jones and company, and they'll be picked at the top once again, Noah.
Yes, they will be. This transfer portal class, I think, is the best in the conference. I feel comfortable stamping that approval. Pretty much all upperclassmen, and they're all going to play pretty big roles on this team after basically losing everybody from the NCAA tournament team from a year ago. The only returners are Jermaine Camera, who played 8.5 minutes ago, season ago, Jordan Leaks, who played 7 minutes a game, and Mello Baines, who played 6.5. So incoming, you have Anthony McComb III from New Hampshire. He took 4 threes a game. Honestly, was one of the guys that was looked upon most offensively for the Wildcats last year. He didn't shoot it great, only 29%, but he put up 13 points per game, 3 boards. And then Elijah Jameson might be the point guard here. I don't know what's going on with Jameson because this is a kid that left early in the season with UNC Wilmington, didn't finish the year with the Seahawks last year. He's a senior point guard, I think, who averaged 2 assists per game, 15 minutes a game, 9 points per game when he was on the floor for UNCW last year. Dion Wright Ford is a graduate senior, played 16 minutes a game last year for Texas A&M Corpus Christi, shot at 45.5% from the floor. Jaquel Morris is a St. Pete's transfer, only played 14 minutes a game last year for the Peacocks, but did average 4.5 rebounds. And Keontae Lewis, in 21.5 minutes a game for Wagner, averaged 5 rebounds and shot at 53% from the floor. He's a 6'9" senior forward. I think they're pretty high on him. 2 JUCO incomers that were scorers previously, big men. Yao Dieng, 10.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds a game at Casper Junior College. And Ryan Williams, a 6'4" junior wing who put up 12 points per game, 6 boards, 2.5 assists. Both of them come from pretty good junior colleges there. And I think they would be willing to adapt into some roles and turn into a winning Division I program. A couple of these guys have come from some places that have won recently. So you look at New Hampshire, a better team, not this past season, but 2 seasons ago. St. Pete's, we know how good their program has been, not just this past season, but a couple seasons ago. And then Wagner went to the tournament recently too. So I like Norfolk State's just kind of newcomers from previous winning places, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to add on. It's not necessarily the talent of this transfer class that makes me think that Norfolk State is still going to be the best. It has a lot to do with the fact that you're coming to a program that is a winning culture. So you need to bring guys in that want to win instead of put up stats. And of course, the funny part is you always put up better stats when you're winning anyways. But yeah, this is going to be a really good basketball team. They can compete with the best. Too bad we can't get some bigger programs to try to schedule Norfolk State. That would be fun to watch.
Yeah, and I also with Norfolk, like I would like to take them more in the bye games, but they are replacing a lot, so it may take a month to get them going. But their size and athleticism and just their style of play translates to winning at the MEAC. We've seen it for 12 years with Robert Jones. So yeah, Norfolk talented once again.
You see that, Mac? Are you going to be sitting courtside with Mike Vick?
Yeah, me and Mike Vick will be at
Those are my 2 dogs.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
Last year, Norfolk, best offense, second best defense. Year prior, they had the number 1 defense in the conference. It's just they've unlocked ability to sustain consistent success. So.
They have dudes, and Jones does a good job of getting the guys transferring down from the Power 4 or higher level. So. Another guy that has had it figured out for a long time, LeVelle Moton, great coach, year 17 already. It's hard to believe he's headed into year 17 at North Carolina Central, 278 and 216. But like a lot of these guys' records, a little bit misleading because of how many bye games he has to play. He's 144 and 63 in the MEAC, 70%. He's won the MEAC regular season 4 different times. He's been to the NCAA tournament 4 different times. They have not won it since 2020. That would be, I guess, the only knock on Moton right now is it's been 5 years, and Norfolk has kind of slid in, and Howard and dominated this league over the last 5 years. But Moton's a good coach. Central will be at the top half once again.
Yeah, North Carolina Central kind of established, a sense of we're going to be there every single year. And to see them fall off last year, it gives me even more of a thought process of LeVelle Moton attack this portal hard, and I'll get to that in a second, in an effort to, get back there once again. And I think there's going to be even more drive for that. They only returned 3 players from last year's team. Like I said, was one of the lesser in Moton's tenure at NC Central. Deontay Johnston, who is a 6-foot senior guard, who's probably going to be the point guard this year. Last year, he averaged 4 assists per game in 19 and a half minutes. And you got Kaleki Okorogu. There's no way I drilled that, but he's a 6'6 senior. And then Caleb Ellison, who is a 6-foot redshirt sophomore. And then Cameron Daniels last year redshirted. Incoming, I wouldn't say it's like better than Norfolk State's transfer portal. I like how Moton and staff focused on let's improve the offense. And they did that. I think they're going to do that through the 3-point shooting. You start with Jadon Slack, who is a D2 transfer from West Virginia State. He was at Northwestern State during their good year with Corey Gibson in 2023-24, I think. He's a shooter. Shot 5 threes a game last year at 31%, averaged 18 points per game, 4.5 boards, and just over an assist per game. Shot at 45% from the floor. And then you look to Gage Lattimore, who's a D2 transfer from Seton Hill, who shot 4 threes per game at a 42% clip. In 25 and a half minutes per game, he averaged 10.5, 3.5, and 2 assists. You look at Kyrick Davis, who comes in from West Georgia, who's been a really good program at the D2 level. Last year, they didn't have the same kind of success. He's going to jump to a new school here. He's a 6'5 senior guard who played 25 and a half minutes a game last year, averaged 10 points, 3.5 boards, 1.5 assists, shot 2.5 threes per game last year, just didn't shoot it very well at 28%. And Takeo Carpenter, who's an Austin Peay transfer, speaking of Corey Gibson, averaged 3.5 3-pointers taken per game, shot at 32.5%, played 19 and a half minutes in his junior year, 4.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists per game there. With the Govs, he's going to be a senior this year. You're looking at a potential rotation of 5 seniors and 1 sophomore in Ryan Archie, who's a Coppin State transfer, played 19 and a half minutes in the conference last year, averaged 5.5 points per game, and took 2.5 threes a game. Jonathan Dunn also is a Coppin State transfer who played 24 minutes a game, averaged 10, 4.5, shot at 48.5% from the floor. I like how they've added some shooting this year. And then Khalil Arnold was all right. He averaged 9.5 points per game at Hutchinson last year. Ramondo Battle II played 9.5 minutes for Evansville last year. And then the NAIA transfer from Harris Stowe College, Justin Edwards. He's a 5'9 senior guard. I think NC Central's primed for a big bounce back year. I'll leave it at that for now. But like I said, I think everybody outside of Corey Carvey from Morehead State is able to shoot the ball. And Carvey's just a 6'9 rim protector. So I like the roster.
And that was a very good transition you gave me there, Noah, because I think Davis and Johnson have a good chance to be a pretty solid backcourt. But the biggest thing that scares me about this team is their defense was horrible last year. And it doesn't seem like they purposefully addressed that. But they've got a chance at a rim protector to kind of change that for them. And they don't have to make their defense like top half in the country. They just have to not be horrible and shoot the ball a little bit better. But I will say, and until I see this team play defense, I might be the opposite of you guys in terms of a bounce back. I don't have a lot of confidence until I see them play D.
Outside of the COVID year, it was Moton's first losing season since 2016. So I'm going to bank on his culture. They bounce back here and crack it back into the top 3. Final team in the MEAC. Yeah, baby. The Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Erik Martin, reigning coach of the year in the MEAC. And so I keep saying it. These records are completely – this record is as misleading as any because in year 1, he got the job in July. He didn't even have a chance to pick his roster. So that 5-26 was a complete dumpster fire year. His first year, I'll call that year 0. Then the next year, 14-18, they jumped from the absolute basement when he took over. They finished second. Then last year, they win the regular season with Norfolk State, 20 wins in the MEAC in the last 2 years. They were a tip in away from beating Norfolk in Norfolk to get to the NCAA tournament. This is as underrated a rebuilding job in the country as any right now. Emart's got a squad once again in Spartanburg.
Yeah, it does. If he's going to win, he's going to do it with his guys. If he's going to lose, he's going to do it with his guys because he didn't hit the portal quite as hard as a lot of the other coaches in this league. A lot of returners, just not a lot of returning production. Mm-hmm. You've got Jaden Johnson coming back after playing 16 minutes a game last year. Colin McKenzie, the 6'6 senior, played 14.5 minutes a game last year. Florian Tenebe is a 6'6 senior who played 16.5 minutes last year. James Morrow, a 6'8 junior, played 10 minutes a game last year. Deshae Wright, who's a 6'9 sophomore, only played 7 minutes a game his freshman year. And Jamal Miles, another freshman last year, only played 6 minutes a game. The guys that did go into the portal and grab are some big-time JUCO scorers. Christopher Parker, a 6'6 junior from Atlantic Cape Junior College, 21.5 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists. Obi Bronston Jr., a 6'5 junior who comes in from Edison State, 26.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists. Those two give you, like, their identity is they've been the leaders on the team, at least in the scoring department, and, have gotten aggressive on the glass. This is a pretty big roster as well for the MEAC. I like that. So if there isn't a guy that emerges from the returning group, you have some guys to look to. Also, Kenny Gaines is a 6'2 senior guard who played 24 and a half minutes a game for USCB, a D2 school. He put up 12.5 points a game, 4.5 boards, 3 assists, almost 2 steals per game. He's a nice defensive piece in the backcourt there, alongside Cameron Clark, who's also here for the defense, a 6'10 senior rim protector from Cal State Bakersfield. South Carolina State, I believe in Erik Martin to have this group contending for a title. I just don't know who's necessarily going to be the guy, the top options on the offense per se, but South Carolina has the skeleton is there for another very good and top half season in the MEAC this year.
Erik Martin is our Tony Pujol here, just staying on the same feeling as the most recent preview we did. I think you're right about the record being misleading, Mac. It should have to be listed like that, where you get to see year by year, and there should be an asterisk by that first year. That everything you said, this is maybe the best turnaround that we've seen here recently. This is a crazy great coaching job by Erik Martin. And I kind of see they did the same approach here as NC Central, where they're getting some bona fide scoring. But the difference for them is their defense is culture. And you can count on that defense to be tenacious. And because of that, this team is going to be really good again. And just seeing Erik Martin's turnaround is why when I mentioned power 2 earlier, I maybe should have said power 3, but I think SC State has kind of solidified themselves as they're going to be a contender on a regular basis as long as Erik Martin's around.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that he was able to jump over Howard and NC Central in just, 2-3 years now. So back-to-back years finishing in the top 2. And Noah's talking about all the jukes. Erik Martin's a former JUCO guy that played for Bob Huggins at Cincinnati. So, yeah, he's going to hit those juke ranks. That's what he does. They're going to play hard and play defense and guard and rebound. So, yeah, stay tuned. I will be high on my Bulldogs once again. But over here at the College Experience, we are brought to you by Underdog, a great place to play fantasy pick'em where you can win 500 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player's stats. Available in a ton of different sports. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play 5 to get 100 in bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, off to a great start in college football and NFL. They just introduced a leaderboard with new weekly cash prizes over tracking bets. 5 bets in the same type of your model. You can win $1,000. Use our promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download the Rhythm app today. Promo code SGPN25. All right. I think I can save the audience our breakdowns on 7 and 8. Do we all have Coppin State and Maryland Eastern Shore 7 and 8?
You're not going to believe this, but yes.
Yeah, I have Maryland Eastern Shore 8 and Coppin 7.
Okay. Do you as well, Troy?
Oh, yeah, I've got Coppin State last.
So you had them flipped.
Yeah, I have Coppin State last, Eastern Shore second to last.
Okay. And then I think, here we go. Morgan State, I got it number 6. Kevin Broadus, I think they'll be around 500 once again. I think that's good enough for 6.
Yeah, my note for the rankings predictions when I always talk a little bit about the team, not bad enough to be in the basement, not good enough to be in the top half. Morgan State.
I'm going to get a little weird with this one because we never get weird in the MEAC here. I'm going to go North Carolina Central.
Ooh.
Like I said, I'm not going to trust this defense until I can see it. And I also want to go North Carolina Central for a complete weird reason that puts all 3 bird mascots at the bottom. So the birds will not be flying high. They will be grounded.
Who you got at 5?
At 5 is where I have Morgan State. I kind of alluded to it. I see them taking a little jump up here. But again, I wouldn't be afraid or scared that I'd have to eat my words with NC Central, but I do feel a little more confident thinking Morgan State's going to improve.
At 5, I've got Delaware State. I've got faith in Stan Waterman that he's taken steps in progression with Delaware State. I like the size on the roster. There's some reason to have a little bit of faith here.
I got Delaware State at 5 as well. Waterman, I think, is doing a solid job there, building it slowly. I think they finish in the middle of the pack here. At 4, I got Blakeney and Howard. Like I said, I think they'll get back into the top 4 here. I think they'll finish better than 500 in league play too. So at 4, I got our Howard Bison.
My 4th team is where I have Delaware State. So I like their tempo, but they're so weird to predict. I wouldn't be afraid, or I wouldn't be surprised if they were flipped with either of the last 2 teams that I said, but I'm a little bit higher on them just because of their speed.
At 4, I've got South Carolina State. There's a lot of returners, not a lot of returning production to be bullish on. You got to bank on the program trajectory and a little bit of growth and development here. And we've seen that from Erik Martin in the first 2 seasons. I think this is probably his toughest challenge on the development side. So I got them 4th. 3rd, I've got Norfolk State 3rd. I got the Spartans there. They added some, like I said, I think it's the best transfer portal because they basically had to replace every single starter from last year. They did it through volume. But Robert James, a coach to bet on. I think this is a team that's going to be better in the back stretch of the season rather than the beginning, and up until they're going to take their lumps in the non-conference because they're playing all the bye games. They're not really going to learn a whole lot, and January is going to be pretty slow too. February, March, that's the time that I'll be looking at Norfolk State quite a bit.
I got NC Central at 3. Like I said, I think Moton and company are going to bounce back here. He first losing season in over 10 years. I think he's going to have those guys ready to rock and roll. Did we go out of order?
Yeah, Troy jumped in front of me, so it's no big deal.
Okay, so are we all down to our top 2?
I have Howard at 3.
Okay, you have Howard at 3.
I've got Howard at 3 with even a chance to jump into that top 2 in my mind, to be honest.
Okay. You want to do your top 2 now?
Yeah, I have Norfolk State at 2, actually. I just talked enough about South Carolina State to convince myself to take them to win it. But those two are in a virtual tie for me. Like you said, a tip away. Those two games are going to be really, really fun to watch. But those are my top 2 there.
At 2, I've got NC Central. I think they're bound. They're going to jump back into contending for the title in this conference. They made it a point to just add shooting. You look at a lot of LeVelle Moton's teams recently. The offense has been really, really good. The defense has been hit or miss in the MEAC, but they've been able to maintain that success and be one of the Titans regularly in this league. I think they're back to that this year. Number 1 for me, I have Howard. I really like that transfer portal edition of Cam Gillis from Lehigh. He played 30.5 minutes in the Patriot League last year. 9.5 points per game, 4.5 boards, 2.5 assists. Shot it really well. 32% from the 3 on 4.5 attempts per game. I think him and Bryce Harris makes up the best backcourt in this league. I'm high on Howard this year to win it. Mac, how about you?
I got Norfolk at 2. Rob Jones and company. They continue to find ways to win games, and they'll be right there in the hunt. They are replacing a lot, but I'm going with my Bulldogs, man. Hey, we tied. We tied for it last year. I think he's going to get it done this year. I like the JUCO guys he added, and I think it's underrated to be able to keep those guys in the program that were part of a winning team, and they remember losing to Norfolk at the end. So yeah, I got the Bulldogs getting it done here. Tournament will be.
I'm happy to have Clark on my side here because this league's in his backyard, so I like this.
Worth noting, no matter what, the tournament will be in Norfolk again.
And I have Norfolk State winning it.
Who you got, Troy?
I've got Howard winning this tournament this year. I think by the time the year comes to an end, you're going to see Howard at full firepower. Like I just think that with their scoring and whatnot, it might take a little bit to get in there, but they're going to be encouraged as the year goes along. I'm going to take a weird team here.
I like that.
Hey, 3 different champs. I was in the building last year. I'll be at the championship game again when the South Carolina State Bulldogs get it done over Norfolk in Norfolk this year. I can't wait. I can't wait for the MEAC this year. It's an underrated league.
We didn't get very adventurous with the standings, so now I'm realizing why we didn't do sleepers bust last year.
Yeah, there's only 18.
NC Central, Howard finished outside the top 3. I've got both of them inside the top 3 this year. Those are your easy candidates for bounce back seasons and being a so-called sleeper. And then for the bus, it's just the 2 teams that were ahead of them, Delaware State and Morgan State, to fall back into the bottom half. I think that's what a lot of us agree on. Troy's got NC Central still in the bottom half, so that would probably be – I would classify that as a bust. But
I was going to say, I think that would be classified as my bust in my mind, even though they didn't necessarily finish that high last year. I just don't see them bouncing back like you guys do, but I guess my bounce up would be Howard, huh?
Mac, how much should the regular YouTube live watchers or those that are excited to see our podcast feed, how regularly should they expect us week after week, and especially this week?
This week, so we'll have two more out tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull off Wednesday just because I got to do some things. And then we also have –
Well, you got to do some things, and it's the pick show.
well, yeah, I got to do some other things too.
4 hours on air.
Yeah, 4 hours talking college football. But, yeah, coming up – this is a triple header, by the way. College football, Dantabay's Top 25 is up next. But we'll knock out some more on Thursday. But just make sure you got your notifications turned on. As soon as we set the schedule, because we are at the expense of football right now, with them being in season, so we're being flexible on the schedule. But yeah, you'll start getting some more double headers, triple headers when you include the football show. So,
and when you speak of football, that means Colby, and Colby will be joining us for some big conferences.
Yes,
sooner rather than later. So.
Indeed. So, yeah, make sure you get everything turned on. Cap will be on tomorrow, and then Troy may be back on later this week. But, yeah, you'll see more of Troy. You'll see more of Cap. You'll see more of Huff. You'll see us all. The season's here, man. 5 weeks from today.
I'm smelling a MEAC and America East double header tomorrow with Capper.
Oh, I like that. Let's go. Triple header, like I said, go check out Troy Chewning at Troy Chewning. Go check out Noah Bienick at NoahB77 _. I'm at Moneyline _Mac. College football coming up next year over here at the TCE. You better start thinking about yours. The season's coming, baby. And we are out of here.
Troy, you mowing some greens tomorrow?
Possibly. We got fairways today. I was going to say, Clark, you got to let me know if you're going to a Howard game. I'll come down there to DC with you. You got to have one token white boy at a few of those games.
When does the winterization for running a golf course start to happen?
For us, we are open all year, believe it or not. We'll close for snow and stuff like that, but there's some crazy Asian people that have like little personal heaters and golf cart covers. They'll be out there when it's 38 degrees. It's crazy.
I enjoy being the only white guy in Norfolk.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Me and Mike Vick this year.